I hope if you're watching this right now, know that I don't plan to stop uploading onto YouTube anytime soon, but my life has been so busy recently, it's been hard to just find the time to sit down and record, but finally here I am. How's it going everyone? My name is Dylan and welcome back to the channel. Before we get on with the video, if you're new to the channel, why not hit that subscribe button? Over 90% of you that have watched my videos are not subscribed, so why not take 2 seconds to quickly hit that subscribe button? I'll wait. So I think now more than ever, people have been trying to get into the photography and filmmaking career, or maybe you just want to improve your skills and you have no idea where to start. I have recently just passed my first full year in this whole camera business thing, so I wanted to help you out if you're a beginner and tell you some things that you'll definitely want to focus on if you want to get into filmmaking or photography. Okay, now all these things that I'm listing out are the most valuable things I think are what you should be focusing on in your first year when you're getting into this whole camera side, because there's so many things, so many different things you can learn, but I think if you focus on these fundamentals, you can greatly improve your skills really quickly. All of these things really work together so you can get your projects the way you want to, and if you can really get these fundamentals down, I think you can crush any project you have your way. If you watch all the way until the end, I'll share some videos and YouTubers I've learned from and I think are great resources that you should go check out if you want to learn a lot faster. So this is everything you should learn your first year in filmmaking or photography. First things first, camera basics. To start out, the first thing I focused on even before getting a camera was learning how to shoot in manual mode. So this means learning about aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and learning how all those things connect together so you can get the image quality you want in your shots. For the filmmaking side, one of the things you learn is the 180-degree rule, and it's not really a rule, but you learn how you can get motion blur in your shots, or if you want to break it for more action-packed sequence and you need to really clearly show what's going on, and there's different ways how you can use your shutter speed or aperture and your ISO to show what you want in your projects. In photography too, you learn how different shutter speeds can affect your images in different ways. So if you wanted to freeze the action that's happening in your shot, you'd probably use a really small number for your shutter speed, like 1/1000th or even smaller than that, while a higher number in shutter speed like 3 or 4 seconds can greatly change the image how it looks. So you're increasing the amount of motion blur that's in, or you're smoothing out water like in these shots right here. Now with learning how to shoot in manual mode, the next thing I definitely recommend to do is learning how to properly expose your image. Now this goes with learning the camera basics in manual mode so you can properly learn how to expose your shots and get everything you want in frame exactly how you like it. Now for the video side, you're definitely going to want to learn how shooting in log versus natural is different in learning how to expose properly, because you won't overexpose your natural shots, but when you're shooting in log like I am here, you will definitely want to learn how to properly overexpose a bit so then you can achieve the most amount of detail in your frames. Now the easiest way to do this is by looking at your histogram, so you don't want to be clipping any blacks and you don't want to be blowing out the highlights, so you can get the most amount of detail possible when you're shooting. Yes, there's so many YouTubers out there that make their own tests and show you how they expose their shots to get it looking the way they do, but the only way you can truly figure out how you can get your best image is by doing the test yourself, and I definitely recommend it, as I've done that in the past and it's been really helpful for me to know how, so I can properly expose my shots. It's not likely you're going to be shooting in the exact same setups that they're shooting in, so it's really helpful to do your own test to see what your camera can do. Now on the photography side, when you're shooting in RAW, you might see that underexposing your shots a bit is definitely the way to go. Now when you're shooting in RAW and you decide to underexpose, I definitely think that's the way to go, because you can easily bring back the shadows and you still preserve all the details in the highlights. And I'm pretty sure you can see most other photographers tend to do this as well, unless you're going for a stylistic choice if you decide to overexpose, but I definitely tend to underexpose all my shots. Now what ties into exposure is learning how to properly light your frames. I think lighting is such an important tool in your filmmaking and photography career. I think most people tend to overlook lighting and just focus on what camera people are using, but really it's all about the lighting and how they use the light to shape their subject, to get the image they want. I think learning how to light up your frame correctly and using the correct angles and different ways you can shape the light onto your subject is what you really should be focusing on, and not what cameras people are using, as lighting is really what's making the big difference in your shots. This is the one thing that I'm always working on to improve better every single time, because I think good lighting is the difference between an amateur shot versus a pro shot. Also, learning how to use natural light and the time of day to get certain looks in your shots, whether it's photography or filmmaking, is a really good thing to learn about as well. Because if you're trying to go for like a golden hour look or a blue hour look, you're not really going to get that when you're shooting at high noon, for example. Now, let's say you really don't have that much money to focus on getting great lights. The next important thing is having good composition. Good composition is so important. I think it can make or break the way your shot comes out. Now, you can have great lighting, you're shooting at golden hour at an incredible location, or you have an incredible model with you, but if you don't know how to get a good composition, then it doesn't matter how great everything else is, the shot isn't going to turn out that good. Now, for photography and filmmaking, you have the rule of thirds, which is a really good starting point for getting good composition, but there are so many different ways and different looks that you can achieve by getting different compositions. It's really worth checking out and learning about so you can get an incredible shot every time. Now, one last thing I think is definitely worth mentioning is learning an editing software. Now, you can be recording amazing footage all the time, but if you don't know how to edit, and your edit doesn't turn out that great, then it doesn't matter how good the shots look, there's no story to it or anything like that. You really want to know how to edit, so color correcting, color grading, your footage, or in photography, not getting too punchy colors or oversaturating everything, or like sharpening everything so much. You really want to know how to get a nice clean image so the editing can help the storytelling even more. Now, I would totally recommend DaVinci Resolve. I think if you're a beginner, that's definitely the way to go. You have incredible color grading tools. I'm gonna check it out. I've been using Premiere Pro, but I think I might make the switch because color grading on that definitely seems to be the way to go. And really, there's not much of a difference between Premiere Pro and DaVinci. I think the one downfall is that you won't be able to use After Effects with DaVinci, as fluid as Premiere Pro. But DaVinci Resolve does have their own version of this, and I think DaVinci, starting out, you just need the free version if you're a beginner, and I definitely think it's worth looking at. I think if you're going into your first year, these are all the things you should be focusing on and putting them all together piece by piece. I think if you can master all of these things in your first year, then you can truly push your creative side even further and improve your storytelling to the max. Storytelling is the most important thing, so I think once you can get over that hurdle of learning the basics and editing and all those things that go into getting your shot the way you want it, then you can really be creative and you'll have no end. Once you focus on your storytelling and you've mastered all these things, then there's nothing that can hold you back from doing what you want to do. I know starting out it will definitely feel overwhelming, it definitely did for me, but I think once you get over that hurdle of learning these things, then you can definitely push your creative side and learn what you can do just with simple tools like this. Now, here are some videos and YouTubers I would definitely recommend you check out if you're learning for your first year. So of course, definitely check out Peter McKinnon. He's got his camera basics videos like 1, 2, and maybe 3 where he goes through like all the settings and everything you need to know for shooting in manual. I would also check out Julia Trotti. She has incredible videos on shooting portraits and also how to shoot in manual as well. Now, if you're into the more night scene, or you're also into portraits or maybe shooting cars, I would definitely check out 7th Era and North Borders as well. And if you want to learn how to push your creative side, definitely check out Hayden Peterson. Now, for learning how to tell stories over the internet and short storytelling and different editing styles and cool transitions, I'll definitely check out Jesse Driftwood. Now, if you're into shooting music videos and those sorts of things, I'll definitely check out YC Imaging and Creative Ryan. Now, there are many other creators that I didn't get to mention, but if you're looking for other things you want to learn, leave them down below and I'll give you some good recommendations to check out. And that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I hope if you're just getting started in this career that you really push yourselves as far as you can go. And I'll see you guys in the next one.